Go on.
So are there any other peculiarities or concerns related to the case in particular?
Well, I think there's been a vendetta against Joe's father. You know what I mean? I think Steve has got three
By who?
by the police. You know, the police have got Steve got 3 police officers sacked from the force, and the only way they can get at Steve is through family. And a classic example is on the night in question, Joe was not even mentioned in any of the statements, but somebody gave the registration number of the car and implicated Joe. And we know it was the police. It was as simple as that. So from that point of view, you know, there is a malpractice which has gone on here. Then you've got the evidence of the taxi driver who went to give evidence for Joe, but when the police went to take the statement, it wasn't from 2 independent police officers like it should be, like the Crown Court judge advised. He said it should be independent police. It was 2 police officers who was involved in the actual case of Joe. And they were telling the taxi driver, oh, you can't say this, you can't say that in your statement. Why can't they say that? Because the man confessed to him that he was going to stitch up Joe in the taxi. So that taxi driver then went to the police and said, listen, he's just told me he's going to stitch Joe up. And because of the link between, you know, the animosity towards Steve with the police, I think this is why they did what they did. This is their way of getting back at Steve.
So you believe there's a clear link between...
Oh, clear link, no doubt about it. I mean, it's very difficult to get 1 police officer kicked off the force. And I got to admire Steve for getting 3 bent police officers kicked off the force. That's really difficult.
So there was good reason?
Oh, as far as they're concerned, there was justification from their point of view to try and get back at Steve. And this is what, and they used his son, of all people, to use him as a weapon against him. And this is what they've done. And this is how it's resulted in a miscarriage of justice case.
What do you think about the media exposure related to this particular case?
I think the media have been quite biased towards Joe, you know what I mean? Really biased. And I mean, some of the headlines, like, you know, I'll give you an example. You know, at the end of the year, when they look at all the criminals who's been arrested in their papers, they had Joe next to Alton and whatever. And I just think, what are you doing?
Alton is...
Alton is the one who actually committed the crime, who actually, you know, killed a woman, like, you know. And there's another thing to say about Alton as well. He did write a letter saying that Joe, he did not know Joe. He didn't know him from anywhere. So there was no joint enterprise, like the Crown prosecution have twisted the case to make it look like it's a joint enterprise. And that's another issue. You know, Alton doesn't know him. Joe doesn't know Alton. And Alton has actually admitted that he doesn't know why Joe is even in prison. So, I mean, when you look at the evidence like that, I mean, that is strong evidence that, of Joe's innocence. You know, but you've got to look back at the police knew what they were doing in this particular case, like they did in mine all those years ago, like they did in Paddy Hill's case all those years ago. They know what they're doing. And to do something like this is evil and wicked. To put somebody in prison for something they haven't done. They got the real person. Why didn't they leave it at that? Do you want to say something, Steve?
What the drug dealer said in the taxi, he bought in January, the sentence, he was witnessed by a solicitor, and exactly what he said in the taxi happened, he got off with it.
Yeah, he did.